Oh, what's up, guys? Hopefully you're all having a good day. So it is Saturday today, Saturday the 31st of August 2024. So I was had a browsing at the inghams vlogs a lot from last night and the night before. Both were absolute garbage. I mean, let's face it, the inghams vlogs are basically rubbish these days. And I think I honestly sit here and I struggle to understand how the iPhone can say they're putting out great floats. Because their floats are not that great, in a respect. Um, I mean, I definitely think their floats could be better, to say the least. Um, you know, I think there's one, doing me a little bit off today. There is one common problem with the iPhone, and that is that the iPhone are not willing to admit, and well, they're never willing to admit that sometimes, maybe, just maybe, they might actually be wrong, and that they're not always right. Like, I think if the iPhone were willing to accept that, I would probably have more respect for some of them. But this is the reason I don't have a lot of respect for for many of the iPhone is none of them are really kind of willing to accept that they're actually wrong. And I just wish that they were willing to accept that. I just wish that sometimes they were willing to accept that they're not always right. Because they need to start, they need to start realising that. I think they need to start realising that they're not always right. Do people think it's a bit suspicious or a bit weird that Chris hasn't been in any of the vlogs that were uploaded this week? It's funny how he's not been in any of the vlogs since the clothing company actually clothing brand called him out for being a pedo, basically. And we know that's what it's to do with. We know that he's not been on camera since they called him out. Like, it's hardly a coincidence. At the end of the day, it's like, my question is, is number one, if Chris has nothing to hide and never did anything, why is he not, why has he been hiding, why is he hiding off camera? And why has he not been on camera since that clothing brand called him out for being a pedo the other week? And question number two, why have they not made any excuses of why he's not been on camera? Because there's obviously a reason. Well, there's obviously a reason for why they've not been on with it. We know why he's on camera, and they won't admit that he's not been on camera because Zapata called him out for being a pedo, because the Zapata clothing brand called him out for being a pedo, but we all know that's why he's not on camera. Well, he's not been on camera lately. Obviously, I looked at Sarah and Hits recently, that Hits more more particular. And you can see, like, how much happier the kids are, since they've been back here. Like, they've seemed happier in themselves, they seem, I feel like they like it, they're happier being here than they were in Dubai. Obviously, they will end up going back to Dubai, because Chris will have his way, he'll convince them to return to Dubai, but, it's very interesting, really. Obviously, their flaws are like watching paint dry, to be honest. When I look at their channel, I struggle to see what the future holds for their channel. But the future's not looking bright for their channel. The future for their channel is looking very, very bleak. I know I said the other day that one of the videos I put out the other day, I originally said that I did their channel 2 years max before it was gone, but I changed my mind in a later video and said I believe it would be a year or less than a year. And I do think it would be, a year or maybe just less than a year before the end of their channel. Like, Well, at the end of the day, they're just, they're clinging on to it for dear life. And as I was saying in one of the videos I put out about this the other day, they need to let go. Because they're basically, at this point, they're just flogging a dead horse. They really, really need to start letting go of their channel, because there's just nothing, there's nothing for them on YouTube anymore. The fact that a channel that has over 1.3 million subscribers isn't even getting 50k views a day on a vlog is actually bad, because you would be expecting a channel that has over 1 million subscribers to actually be getting well over 100,000 views regularly on a vlog. And why do they not get over 100k views regularly on their vlogs these days? Because their content is not that good. A lot of the time it feels quite repetitive, because it feels like you're always seeing them do the same things all the time, like they don't really do anything different. And this was the problem. This was the problem after they moved to Dubai. Like, it was just the same thing every single day, which is why the Dubai vlogs were doing really crap with regards to views and everything. Because it was literally just the same thing every single day. We weren't really seeing anything different. Like, it's the same when they're living in the UK. We don't really see them do anything different. It's just, it seems like it's the same thing every day most of the time. And it's not hard. Like, when I look at their channel and I look at the sort of content they put out, it's not hard to see why their channel is falling, and is failing so hard, and it's failing the way it is. Like, it just feels, when I look at that content, it just feels like they're not really putting any real effort into the sort of content that they're putting out there on their channel these days. I feel like, when I look back at their older vlogs, as I was doing that the other day, I was kind of looking back at their older vlogs, and I was, like, when I look back at their older vlogs from sort of 2017-18, they seem like a completely different family. Back then, you wouldn't be, if you look at them in those older vlogs compared to them in their vlogs now, you wouldn't think it was the same family. Like, they seemed so different back then. They really, I feel like, and it seemed like they had, like, back then, they did have a lot more of a passion for what they do, for YouTube and things like that. Because that's what it feels like these days. It just feels like they don't have that passion for YouTube anymore, but they don't want to admit that they don't have that passion anymore. It seems that they're perfectly happy to put a vlog out regardless of how crap it actually is. I mean, that vlog that they put out on Thursday night, it was hardly vlog-worthy content. Sarah buying her own size boxes for Jake's. Like, they really needed to do it. They're like, it must be pretty bad if they feel the need to make a vlog about that. Half the time I wonder why they even bother putting a vlog out most of the time. I think sometimes it just feels like they put a vlog out just for the sake of putting a vlog out, like, not because they want to put a vlog out, but just for the sake of it. I was sort of thinking the other day, if they were to quit YouTube tomorrow, I can't imagine, like, how devastated the iFam would be. Because it feels like the iFam have, like, devoted most of their lives to Chris and Sarah and to defending Chris and Sarah every day. I don't know what else to say, really. People need to start waking up and realising that the content is not that good. I mean, it's not that good at all, really, in all fairness. The way that Chris, in particular, responds to certain comments, he talks like Andrew Tate, he acts like Andrew Tate. Because if truth be told, Christendom at this point is now but a fake heart Andrew Tate wannabe. That's what he is. He's an Andrew Tate wannabe. I mean, the thing that has really, that I sort of picked up on, and the thing that has kind of, concerned me a little bit is the way that he speaks to Sarah. We've seen it in recent vlogs that he's speaking to Sarah in quite a nasty way. Now, the iFan will always put it down to being just banter. But I don't always get that vibe. I don't get the vibe that it is always just banter. Like, you don't hear many husbands kind of speaking to their wives the way that Chris speaks to Sarah. And obviously seeing him look like the way he speaks to it does make you wonder how bad things actually are behind the scenes. If he's showing that on camera, what are things like off camera behind the scenes? How do they speak? It's, they put on all these hairs and races, and they make, a lot of the time they're just trying to make themselves look good. This might seem like they're all pitch perfect on camera, but off camera, things are probably completely different. And, the thing is with the inghams, we don't really get that much of an insight into what things are really like off camera. No one really knows, how bad things are off camera, and it does. I mean, when I hear them saying to each other, "Oh, I'm gonna knock you out," or things like that, I just think to myself, why would you leave that in a vlog? Why would you leave a clip in the vlog of you telling your wife or telling your husband, telling your wife whatever, you're gonna knock them out? Because some of them saying that is always gonna be taken out of context. Sometimes I think they leave certain things in the box deliberately because they know it will get people talking. They know that people will see it and start, will learn. They know that it will be taken out of context. But the whole clip of her shouting at Ida for ruining that clip, that wasn't taken out of context, was it? I'll never forget that clip. I'll never forget that video where they uploaded that clip of Sarah yelling at Ida for ruining that clip. That was unbelievable. And we all know why they removed it, because so many people were talking about it. But it was already too little too late by the time they removed it. So many people had already seen it. They couldn't hide it. It's just crazy. I really don't know what else to say. There's nothing else that can be said about them. But as I said, the future, at the moment with regards to their channel, the future is very, very bleak for them. I think they need to think about the sort of position that their channel is in, and maybe call it a day. And I think that's what most normal people would do in this sort of situation, is they would call it a day. And I think they really need to kind of think about doing that. That has to be said. I mean, obviously it's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. The channel itself is in a position that, is in a position, it's unsavable at this point, is what I'm trying to say. I honestly don't understand how the iFan think the inghams vlogs are so good, because they're honestly not that good. as I said at the start of the video, my main issue with the ingham is they're never willing to accept they're wrong. You know, they always think they're right, they always think they're right all the time, but they're not always right. 9 times out of 10 they're not always right, and that they need to start realising that. You know, they need to start realising that they're not always right. The sooner they start realising that, the better the situation will be. You know, it's honestly to God. You know, I honestly don't think things would be too bad if the ingham were willing to accept that they were actually wrong sometimes, and that they're not always in the right. But this is why I don't like some of the inghams, because they seem to think they're always right 99% of the time. But most of the time they're not right at all. You know, I don't care, you know, what the ingham think of me. I don't care if the ingham think that, you know, if the ingham don't hear what I say. I mean, it was funny, I posted a lot of, you know, I posted a comment on the vlog yesterday. For a laugh, I posted a comment on their vlog saying that their vlogs are rubbish. And it seems that comment did seem to offend a lot of the ingham. They seem to be offended. You know, they seem to be really offended by the fact that people think the vlogs are rubbish. Like, they seem to be offended by the fact that people think their vlogs are boring. Because at the end of the day, you know, someone has to say it for what it is. Their vlogs are rubbish. Their vlogs are boring. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, it's like people, you know, as I've said all along, people don't watch it, you know, to watch the parents. They're watching the videos, so they want to watch it kids. You know, it makes me laugh. You know, I feel scared. You know, I feel scared for those kids sometimes. They do things that are a little bit irresponsible. You know, I feel like Han says that with a raw rolling around on that floor, on the floor and everything, they need to be really careful that, you know, they're not leaving things lying around that she could pick up and put in her mouth. Because that is a potential problem. Is if she's now hauling and she's getting about a little bit, she can start picking things up and trying to put things in her mouth. So they need to make sure they're not leaving things things on the floor that Aurora can pick up and try and put in her mouth, if she will try and do that. You know, so it's important that they're making sure they're not leaving things lying around, you know, potentially dangerous things lying around on the floor. I mean, how many times have we seen them leaving open bottles of chemicals, bottles of cleaning chemicals in reach of the kids? You know, we've seen that many times where they've left open bottles of cleaning chemicals and open bottles of medicine in reach of the other 2 kids, Jason Miller. You know, I think it was last night's clip, or last night's video, or the video from the night before. There was a clip where Sarah kind of walked away from the pram. And she wasn't paying attention. And she wasn't paying attention long enough for someone to grab that pram and run away with it. You know, to be honest, it's like, when I think about the inghams, I'm not trying to start World War III here, but I honestly think it's a pure miracle that nothing bad has already happened to any of the kids. You know, it's like they're basically running on pot luck at this point, and their luck will run out at some point. Like, Chris and Sarah have this attitude of they don't think anything bad will ever happen to them. I kind of wish something bad would happen to them. Because then they would get a bit, it would give them a bit of a reality check in all respect. You know, they're so irresponsible and they're so careless, you know, you're often worrying that something bad could happen. Like, I think that people can't help but worry that something bad is going to happen to one of those kids one day. Because it feels like one day something is going to go very badly wrong. And it feels like that, you know, and we all know that if something does go wrong, it will be the kids that end up paying the price. It will be the kids that end up facing the consequences. You know, it will be the kids that end up, it will be the kids that, you know, it will be, you know, that, and that's the thing. Obviously, when I look at the stairs, I honestly, to God, do think that they should have a stair gate on the stairs. But I remember Chris saying that apparently they can't put a stair gate on the stairs because of the design of the staircase. That to me just feels like a bullshit excuse. You know, especially with a baby and a toddler. With them having a baby and a toddler in the house, I do think that a stair gate would probably be more. It would probably be the safest bet. You know, but they probably don't see the point in putting a stair gate on the stairs now, on that stairwell now, at the staircase now anyway, because obviously they're not living there full time now. So, you know, they probably don't see the point in investing in having a stair gate fitted when they're not going to be living there full time. Like, they're not going to be living there full time now. They're going to be kind of backwards and forwards, so to speak. It's just madness, really, with them. Like, I don't want to believe that something bad will happen to one of those kids, but I feel that one day something bad is going to happen. I don't know what, but it does feel like something bad is going to happen one day. Because the way I see it, Chris and Sarah are going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. They're going to keep getting more and more careless, more and more irresponsible. And the chances of something bad happening are going to keep increasing. You know, the chances of something bad happening to one of those, if not all of the kids, is going to be more. It's going to start becoming more and more likely. You know, because they're gonna keep getting desperate and desperate and desperate. You know, this is what you're seeing here. I feel like there's that real desperation for views. Like, they know their views are shit, and they're desperate to try and get their views back up, and they're trying to kind of, you know, but nothing they ever do is working now, is it? And let's face it. You know, I wonder what tonight's vlog will be, because the last two vlogs have been absolute bullshit. I sit here now and I wonder when Chris is going to start showing his face in the vlogs again. I'm assuming that he'll start showing his face in the vlogs again this week, but I could be wrong. I'd laugh, you know, I can't help but laugh at that. You know, he knows he's done wrong. If he hadn't done anything wrong, why has he not been on camera since it's a clothing brand, or would have to being a pedo? Funny, isn't it, really? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my little video this morning. A nice little video to start the day. I'll see you for another video very soon, I guess. But for now, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll catch you all later on. Bye bye for now.